Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Loan Officer Marketing Podcast. We have JR Boston with us here today. JR, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm excited about being here.
My man. You are a Loan Officer CRM power user, and you are using it in some really interesting ways to drive mortgage deals. And I'm really excited to hear about it. So, give us, before we get into that, a rundown of like your business model. What does it look like so people understand how you're applying the CRM?
Sure. So what we did was we follow MMA, right?
Yes.
But we found that loan officers a lot of times have a little challenge with the whole Thor's hammer. Everything goes really well, but the Thor's hammer is the beginning calls a little challenge, right? So we have, as a company, we offer out, we make those calls for them, okay? And we call them coffee calls. So we'll set up the loan officers with realtors that are pre-qualified to do business with us, okay? So we set that up for them. And what we do is we set them up with a 15-minute coffee call. We do that for our loan officers, right? Now, in the CRM, what we do is we have it set up so that when they look, if you could imagine in your mind's eye, right? In the CRM, we built it so that the coffee calls go in as an appointment, okay? And then we try to keep them around 8 a week, every week in there. So when they come in on Monday morning, they usually have between 8 to 12 appointments in there, okay? And then what happens is when they make the appointment, the CRM automatically sends out emails, text to the realtor, okay? And then when they make the call, it moves it over to their post coffee call, which for DSP would actually be your week 1 of your calls, right? Okay. And then, so it stacks them in there. So you easily find, who do I call next Monday when I come to work, right? So you come in Monday, right there's your first calls. Then if you make those calls on Monday, the system again automatically moves them into week 2. So you don't ever have to look for, who am I calling? You just come into your CRM, go into that particular pipeline, and we call it post coffee calls. And you click on it, and all of your leads are right there.
That's in the power dialer, and they just hit the power dial button, and off the power dialer goes making the phone calls.
Exactly.
Oh, it's brilliant. That is fantastic. So every Monday, they just show up, click the Monday power dialer, and all the calls for that day are already pre-populated based on where they are in the sequence.
Right. And so let's say we talk to them and we find they want, say, move to.
Okay.
Okay. So when we want to talk to them about MoveTube, we also have a tag inside of the CRM that if they would put, say, JR MoveTube. Okay. You put that in there, then it automatically sends an email to that agent with all the information about MoveTube.
Right.
So the LO doesn't have to go look for that link, put it on an email. You just put JR MoveTube, and the CRM automatically sends out our marketing piece on that. And we have that for, all of our marketing that we have put together for the LOs.
That's amazing. So, okay, so you just touched on something that is very powerful, which is a MoveTube, offering MoveTube to listing agents and agents in general. But the fact that you're making multiple offers. So you've got multiple offers that you're using to attract these qualified agents and book appointments.
Sure, because, a lot of LOs are calling them.
Yeah, that's right. So do you have an offer that is like your shining star, the one that does the best, or is it just you find just working them over time is what wins them over?
So we change it, all right? But the one that sometimes we'll do this, we'll like to get the agents interested, we'll say something, our callers, right, are US-based, college-educated callers, and when they call on them, they say something like, the most recent one we started saying was, oh, you guys, and they're talking to an agent, right? They'll say, well, you use a 3x3, right?
What's the 3x3?
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, so what we do here at America's Mortgage Professionals is that we follow a strict guideline on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursdays. And when we talk to our borrowers, when we're off the phone with them, before we get off, we ask them if they know anybody they're looking to buy, sell, or refinance. And when they say they have somebody that they want to sell or buy, we refer them to our agents. So that would be a referral over to you. could I set somebody up to speak to you about that whole program? Gets the agent interested in doing it. We also
That's
do the,
awesome.
I can't remember the name that Carl came up with it, but we just use it as a live lead referral program.
Okay,
That's
yep.
going over pretty good too. We use that.
The follow-up refer back.
Yes, that's right. That's what we use it. And we use that now because it'll get them on the phone. All we're looking for is opening a door so that the loan officer can get on the phone with the agent without having to make the 50 phone calls in here now.
Yep.
That's what we try to do.
That is amazing. That's awesome. Okay, so congratulations. So you're using the CRM, you're getting the qualified list of agents, making the calls to the qualified agents, and booking appointments with qualified agents for members of your team.
Right.
Awesome. What else are you using the Loan Officer
But the
CRM?
other thing that's great about the AI CRM is that with the power dialer is awesome. I've used power dialers for many years. Okay, and it's not one that will ever leave the person on the other end answering the phone going hello,
Yeah.
hello. It's just instant. All it does is it basically eliminates the need for you as a person to use your fingers to dial a phone number. That's what it does. It dials a phone for you. Then when it gets to the point of if it's a voicemail, you hit a button and it can leave your own personal voicemail. And it just makes you be able to go through calls really fast. Makes it very efficient. We have our callers that set up these appointments for the LOs. And when we used to have them making hand phone calls, we were working hard to try to get maybe 4 appointments a week for a loan officer. And as soon as we came up with the power dialer, we went instantly 8 to 12 a week, always. And the power dialer made that happen. Yeah. So,
That's great. That's like a 200% increase.
Oh yeah, that made it happen.
That's incredible. That's awesome. And you mentioned something really important there, JR, that I want to make sure people don't miss. This isn't like calling 5 people all at once, and then if somebody picks up, it disconnects the rest of them. And you'd be surprised how many people we have to fight to not have that in the system. It's like, no, that's not how you do it. These are very high value contacts. Like if you win one of these realtor relationships, it's very valuable.
Very.
One call, one at a time, but dropping the voicemail and automating and helping to get rid of that call reluctance. So
the other thing that we have, there's many things we have in there, but we don't have a lot of, whole bunch of time. The other thing we do is on Wednesdays, we follow database calls on Wednesdays, right? Okay. So on Wednesdays, what we have set up is we have the loan officers funded loans in the database. And so it has, if you, again, in your mind's eye, right, to the left, it would have all their funded loans are stacked in there. Okay. Then next, what happens is the CRM goes in and pulls the 2 letters of the alphabet for them to call on Wednesdays. Because if you call 2 letters of the alphabet every Wednesday, you'll call your database 4 times a year. Perfect. So it pulls out to the AB, let's say AB, and stacks it in there. So then the loan officer, again, in the power dialer, right, jumps on, puts on the power dialer, calls all their calls for that day on Wednesday. So what happens then is it moves it over to the second quarter or whatever quarter you're in, right? You won't call them again. Then it stacks you again next Wednesday. You come in again. Then it goes CD or whatever letter 2 letters you're working on, right? And using that system really helps the loan officer again know who to talk to. Yeah. Instead of trying to, did I talk to them? Or, it just is. And as a owner, it helps me when a loan officer says, hey, I'm not doing as good as I want to do. I'm not, when they start talking those things, I say, well, let's go in and look. On your CRM, I noticed that on your Wednesdays here sits all these calls and you haven't been in there for 2 weeks. Yep. Let's first make those calls here and then let's see if we don't have any leads. Yep. But we already know that if you call them, you're gonna get the leads. You're gonna get the leads. Yep, absolutely. That's amazing. And so what happens in your system if somebody doesn't pick up?
you'll automatically move them to the next quarter. But then do you also drop like a little follow-up sequence after the phone call?
Yeah, they can get an email sent to them, okay? Because that's the whole program, right? So you call them, you email them, you text them, right? So the
Perfect.
whole CRM does all of that for you. You don't have to
That's
do
right.
any of it.
So all they do is they show up on the day, hit the power dialer button. If they don't pick up, everything else just automatically happens.
That's right.
Amazing.
That's right. The one of the other things that we're doing for loan officers as well is we find that loan officers are really great at the initial anything they do, the initial lead, the initial talk to, whatever it is, they're great at that and not always the best at following up. So in our system, when you request income docs or asset docs, we do it electronically, and we ask them electronically for the docs, right? And to the borrower. So we have the CRM set up so that when the docs are requested and if they're not back, then the CRM goes out and asks through AI and starts a conversation with the borrower, asking them, where are the docs? They don't say it like that, but it's asking where are the docs, right? And how can I help you get those docs in? And do it to the point that if the borrower seems to be having a challenge, it can say, should I just give you a call, or would now be a good time to have a conversation? And we can hook the loan officer and the borrower up together right then. It's fantastic.
So the AI is following up on doc verification, and until the loan officer goes in and clicks the button, docs submitted, the AI is following up with the client in order to make sure they send the docs.
That's right.
My man. That is awesome, JR. That is fantastic. Like,
we want those loan officers out there selling
yeah,
and doing this because, although following up on loan docs is important from a loan officer, it is also easy work.
yep.
Okay. Because, making a phone call is a gut call, right? But it's a lot easier for them to say, oh, I was so busy because I had to follow up on these docs, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And so we say, okay, well, we can eliminate that excuse. Now you no longer have that. We have something doing that for you. Now stay
Yep.
on the phone. Let's focus and make that money for your family.
Yep. Make those calls.
Yeah.
Wow. See, I love the way, like, so many people look at the CRM as a solution to do more of something, which it totally does. The power dial, you see that in the power dialer, 200% increase in the number of calls and the number of appointments. So like getting more is great. But what a lot of people don't look at the benefits is like, what is it taking off of your plate and saving that you then don't have to do? And I think doc collection is one of the greatest examples of a time saver so that you can spend even more time doing the activities that bring in the loans.
Yeah.
Your implementation, JR, is just absolutely phenomenal. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks.
So in all of everything that's going on, and I'll make this the final question. Thank you for being so generous with your time. In all the things that you see happening right now in the organization, everything that everybody is doing, where do you find the majority of the funded loans coming from right now?
For us, it's still coming from our realtor relationships.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think that there is way more money in the database for sure. I think that's where there's a tremendous amount of opportunity and it's being completely missed.
Yep. Yeah. So calling a real estate agent's database to help them generate more business, but also generate more business for the mortgage business. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's a good point. And that's something that we are doing as well. One of our lead-ins to get agents to do business with us, right, or to be open to a phone call is that we ask them, do you have any leads that you've lost contact with in the past? And they all say yes. And then we say, well, we'd be open to, once you get to know us, we'd be open to helping you find a few extra deals out of that, right? And so they say yes, and we bring them in, okay? And we even go to the point of asking the agent to record a simple voicemail,
Yep.
right? And so then when we call on their behalf, we use their voicemail inside the AI CRM to leave their voicemail. And then even though we're doing the ones making the calls, right? And we try to find more buyers for them.
That is amazing. The old irresistible offer. I love it. I'll work your leads for free.
Yeah.
Amazing. JR, man, thank you for bringing the value and for sharing with everybody, because just one of those strategies taken and implemented successfully can make a huge difference in a loan officer's business. So if people want to learn more about you, where do people go to get more information?
Hey, you know what? They could go pretty easy. It's jrboston.com.
Ah, quick and easy.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay. So for all of you listening, that's in the show notes below, jrboston.com, to reach out to JR. If you'd like to kick the tires on the old Loan Officer AI CRM, just go to loanofficercrm.ai. You can go to Google, type in Loan Officer CRM. Loanofficercrm.ai is the first result on Google. And you can try the whole thing out for 30 days risk-free, because we've got a 100% money-back guarantee. And for those of you listening before the end of the month, if you purchase, you get our new voice AI agents for free if you join before the end of the month. So check it out. JR, thank you so much for being so generous with your time and being on the show.
You got it. Thank you.
Right on. Thanks everybody for listening. We'll see you in the next episode.